One thing that bridges all ancient cultures is music and dance. It's this magic window between alpha and theta where we can access the subconscious. We have the ability to heal anything. One of the most powerful tools we all have is our own voice. I decided in that moment to go mind over matter, and I'm going to heal this. What do I need to do or to shift inside myself to create harmony back in my body? If you have one note, that is a potential for healing. I was healing myself in the hospital. I started doing a lot of toning and chanting, and that really helped because it changes the nervous system. It changes everything.
Pleasure to have you here with me, Sequoia, today.
Thank you so much for inviting me to join this podcast. I really appreciate it. And it's nice to see you and to share in the topic of sound healing.
Lovely to have you. And I'd love to jump straight into sound if we could, because I think some people kind of understand it, maybe others don't as much. It'd be nice to hear from your own words. What is sound healing? What does it do to us, to our bodies, and in the different levels, you know? Let's start with what is sound healing?
So normally when we're in the waking state, when we're driving a car or something or walking down the street, our brain waves oscillate at a specific frequency, and they categorize this as beta. But when we get out of the car and we let go of the attention that we need to drive the car, we can relax. And the brain waves move slower. And then it goes into alpha. And then when you are now lying on the ground and you're feeling the earth and you have no responsibilities, it will go to theta. And it's this magic window between alpha and theta where we can access the subconscious. And in the first 7 years of our life, any child, we all experience this, we are being programmed in the subconscious. We pick up our habits, our beliefs from our parents and society. And then later on in life, it has a very significant role in how we govern our life and how our beliefs and our thoughts, which connect to the chakra system. And so going back to the definition of what sound healing is it changes brain state. It changes that from beta to alpha or to theta to delta. And delta is a very, very, very like, it's almost like dreamless, sleepless state where you go into this very, very deep, deep experience. And this is where healing can occur, in this state of relaxation. And when we say the state of relaxation, that's what it is through the brain state. So there are more brain states, but those are the four major ones. And what it is the ability for the body to repair itself as it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. And if we are not relaxed, the sympathetic nervous system is going to be governing. And what that means is everything is contracted inside. That means that it is affecting our breathing, our circulation, every system in the body. But when we relax, then healing can occur. And so when we look under the umbrella, this is the umbrella, when we look under the umbrella of sound healing, somebody can go into that state through the voice, through listening to a bowl, through listening to a gong, through listening to a piece of music. And so this is a huge ocean to choose from. You could even get to that state if you can listen to the waves. You can listen to wind, the rustling of the leaves from the trees. It does not have to be an instrument. And that being said, one of the most powerful tools we all have for healing ourselves and others is our own voice.
Would you say that there's also something to the frequency of the voice or the instruments that you're playing that in a frequency level interacts with the body and the mind in a certain healing way too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's difference in music, there's different modes, and these different modes, basically what they do is they invoke different emotions. So there's the modes that could be used in music, or there's the frequency that could be used in a specific tone. And specific tones can help kill certain cells in the body, like cancer cells or something in the body. And this is not specific for each person. It's different for each person. So I think if they knew exactly what it was, everyone would be using it, but it's not like that. But there are specific frequencies that help specific ailments.
I guess that probably relates to the chakra system as well. You need to know how to play up and down and know your different tonalities to kind of go through the body as well in different areas. Is that the case?
I'm going to say yes and no to that. Yes, that works. But as somebody who wants to be a sound healer, if you have one note, you can affect the brain state. So I say that no, I don't fully agree with that because I want to encourage people to open up to this possibility of healing with sound. If you have one note, that is a potential for healing. If you took that one note and you toned that note and someone's listening, or you are doing it for yourself, you can change your brain state. And if you change your brain state, then there's going to be different hormones that are released and different nerve impulses that are released. And what communicates from mind to body, it's through the nervous system and the hormonal system, the endocrine glands. And so this is really important to understand that sometimes we can create one sound and that one person is going to receive a healing because it's changing their state. And another person is not going to move from that because they're maybe, let's say, in a sound healing, some person might be in their mind. And if you're in your mind, you're not letting go, you're not relaxing, you're still in the beta state, and therefore you're not going to go anywhere. So there's going to be a potential to have judgment, criticism, analyzing. Oh, I like this. I don't like this. Oh, that sounds nice. And that person who's in that sound healing, for example, may not get the same as this one person who's willing to let go, even if it's one note. So it really depends on the person. It's just like if we had a room here full of 10 people, we all sang the same song. It's not going to be the same. The voice is different. And our voice, this is the voice, and then this is what's pressing through the voice. This is the emotions, the experiences, our essence, our unique sound signature, which is so different from anybody else.
I've heard from a lot of people that have physical problems like tight muscles or they have some sort of injury or something like that, they'd prefer to get like deep tissue massage or something that goes really deep. And like I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that too. Like, is it affecting all levels? Is it good for the physical as well as like the energetic system and the mind and all that stuff too? Like, does it get deep, let's say, as well?
Oh, absolutely. It first and foremost will depend on that person's ability to let go and not be in their mind. So like a two-way relationship. So the willingness of that individual, and then now I'm talking now on an individual level. What happens is the sound goes into stagnant or stuck cellular structures, and sound breaks up those cell structures. And one of my most favorite things to do is I have a bunch of bowls, and when I'm giving a massage, it actually would it's so powerful that if it's a massage, a shiatsu, any kind of Reiki session, anything that I'm doing, I will play the bowls on people. And it's incredible how much is released just from the bowls, even for 5 minutes. And putting bigger bowls on the lower part of the body, either the abdomen or the lower back, and hitting it or spinning it, and the smaller bowls on the chest or on the opposite side of the back. And I've seen so much in my personal body work that it works. It removes pain in the body. It removes stuck energy. Mhm.
Yeah, and it's not really like a new technology, right? Like it's under the umbrella once again of like alternative medicines and stuff like that, but sound and frequency have been used as medicine for quite a while. And I feel like you might be the right person to ask about this. I'm thinking of certain cultures like the Egyptian cultures, or maybe you have knowledge of other ones that used it way back and how they used it and in what ways they used it so effectively, maybe. Do you have knowledge on those topics?
My understanding of how it has been used is for ceremony and ritual and healing. And when we have that connection to the divine, we have like our open channel, our open communication to the other realms. And part of the way that I have seen the ancients use sound is through somebody is about to be birthed, somebody just died, somebody just got new land, there's some conflict and they need to clear conflict. So, one thing that bridges all ancient cultures is music and dance. All different traditions have like their songs and their dances. It's only the more modern times it's totally different now. Like for example, there's also like the Hmong people, Hmong, in northern Thailand. What they do every year in the springtime is they wear their traditional dress, and then the men play a mouth harp to court the women. Isn't that great? Like, that's just one way. So it's not even about, "Hey, look at me." They use their tonal language as they're playing the mouth harp to court the women. And I think that when I heard that, I was like, "Wow, how can I join that culture?"
I love that. It reminds me of like a bird or something doing its like mating dance.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. And so the sound that so going back to how the ancients used it, I believe that the ancients used it a long time ago to move objects. And a long time ago in these ancient times that you're asking about, we were a different kind of culture. Humans on the planet at this time have been governed to be left brain dominant. And a long time ago, they were right brain dominant. So it's a very different experience, a very different culture. And I believe that's how they made the pyramid. That's how they made in different temples in South America. That's how they made pyramids. That's how they moved these rocks that are like super, super, super heavy. That's how they did it, is through frequency.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that. I've been to, Machu Picchu and seen the Aztec walls there and everything and ran my hand along them. You've probably seen those walls of those rocks. It's like some sort of feeling that you get from it that is like, this is not made from normal technology. It's been like melted from frequency or something and put together in such a way that there's not even a little hair gap with 14 edges cut and everything placed together so perfectly. It's incredible. So I would, err towards possibly frequency doing that or something like that too. Not that I really know, but resonates for sure. Um, would you like to play a little sound for us? You have all these beautiful instruments around. Do you feel like giving us a blessing?
I want to encourage people to use their voice and to play. And even though I have all these instruments, one of the most powerful instruments that we all have is the voice. And there's no two voices the same. And I just want to go, just before I go into sharing something, I just want to say that I never used my voice until I was 30 because somebody told me to be quiet. Well, not somebody. Many people, when you have parents who have more than one child and they're all running around, everybody has been suppressed at some time in their life. And then you sing a song and your friend or your siblings say, "Oh, you sound bad." Words harm or heal. And so I was really suppressed and I was tone deaf. And I had this experience happen to me where I realized I really need to learn how to sing. Just know the scales so I'm not tone deaf. So then I studied some Indian vocals and the power of our sound. Here's our sound, but then here's the intention. So if I put an intention with the sound, it has more velocity, even though it's unseen. So that's why it's really important to have an intention. And I'm going to tune into my heart song. And I do this quite often. It's about, I got to tune into my heart and then what sound comes out. And that's it. But the thing is, we can do this with, okay, I'm feeling sad. I don't even know why I'm feeling sad. It doesn't have to be a coherent emotion. I tune into that sadness and I allow the sound to be expressed. And when we do that, it's then there's a place for it to go, opposed to being stuck inside. I invite you to just close your eyes and just notice how it feels and where it touches.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sequoia. How would we bring in more sound into our lives that is going to keep us more healthy, keep us more in a good place, and assist us in living better lives?
That's a great question. Well, we all on some level use sound to heal ourselves. And one example is like How many people have stubbed their toe? And when they stub their toe, there is a sound, right? Ah, right? Or whatever, or maybe a profanity, but there's something, right? And that's energy automatically coming out naturally. So, what if you were to take that on another level and be more conscious with our emotions? Energy in motion. So there's a lot of suppression in the world of like not being heard, not being seen, and not allowing ourselves to really express. And sometimes we don't have the navigation tools. Like I know many people who don't communicate very well, and maybe even myself at certain times I don't communicate well. And I know that certain people have different inhibitions. They don't know how. But one thing that we can do, if we're having a specific emotion and we don't know how to express it, we can sound it. We can sound it by tuning into it. And there's no wrong. That's the beautiful thing. There's no wrong. You can sound it to a tree. You can sound it to the mountains. You can sound it to the earth. You can sound it to the water. As Dr. Emoto, he he was a very amazing scientist that did the experiments on frequency with sound of words, mantras, and language on water. And when he would say any coherent words, thank you, I love you, I appreciate you, the water molecules will turn into geometry. And when he would say, I hate you, I'm going to kill you, or death metal was played, it would create no geometry. And because we're made up of 80% water, roughly, our cells can create geometry or not, which is fascinating. So that not only has an effect on the thoughts we think, the words we speak, and being conscious on sounding a certain emotion. So when we can use sound, because our thoughts create frequency, our words create frequency, even though they're not heard with our ear audibly, it's still a form of sound healing because it's frequency. And that's what sound healing is, frequency. So, one thing that I would recommend for anybody is to look at the words. And I did this for myself previously. I used to swear a lot. And in that time I used to swear, um, yeah, it didn't sound very good. And so I made a conscious effort to stop swearing because I know the frequency is incoherent. And that's not only happening in the external world around me, but it's happening in my cells. It's creating a different effect than if I was to say something coherent. So every time that I had a swear come out, I would have like this big red light inside. So we can become aware of what we're thinking and then choose these words. And it might not even be a profanity. It might be, oh, I'm not good enough. It's looking at what thoughts we have that are on repeat that beat us up instead of build us up. And then decide, okay, this is the most repetitive, unhealthy thought that I have. And each time you say it, it's like this big red light comes off and you catch yourself. So it's becoming aware of thoughts and then the words that harm or heal another. And it's the tone, right? It's just like here's a great example. The telephone rings and it's notice the tone here. It's your mother. Oh, hi. It's the collection agency. Yeah, hi. It's your it's your enemy. Hi. Like there's a different tone. Have you ever wondered where that tone comes from and why it changes?
Curious to hear.
Yeah, well, it's not like I have the answer, but the tone is coming from a different emotion, which is coming from a different uh, chakra.
Mm.
So there's main emotions that are connected to the chakras. Anyways, becoming aware of what words you say, and then going into the next step, if you want to use tone, you could start by just humming. Humming helps regulate the nervous system. Humming helps to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest, and it helps the trillions of cells in the body. So it's a way of regulating your nervous system and helping the vagus nerve. Could be one note. But anyone that hums and you hear someone humming, you know they're happy. No one that, and that's the thing. It elevates your mood as well, right? One time I was in Thailand and I was looking for a dentist and someone said, "Yeah, I know this dentist. He's interesting. He hums and he sings." And I'm like, "Oh, perfect. That's the kind of dentist I want." I knew he was happy. So anyways, um, being comfortable to express not only a sound, but underneath that, how we really feel, our true emotions, our true feeling, our authenticity. Many people are not, they're just kind of shy or insecure to say really their feelings. And getting the comfort of humming. There's a practice in pranayama, the yogic breathing, called Brahmari pranayam, which is means humming bee breath. And it's humming on the inhale and exhale. But just to start off with, people just focus on the exhale, which is the male bee sound. And then, if you want to get one step further with this practice, they plug their ears. And then you hum by plugging your ears. If you did this at least 9 times, you will be more relaxed, guaranteed. So it's a go-to that I use if I'm having too many monkeys in my mind before I meditate, and I need to clear those monkeys from my mind. I do this. But it also has been scientifically proven to reduce anxiety, depression, insomnia, and PTSD because it regulates the nervous system. So now, if you're feeling more comfortable, you could just start to tone, one tone, whatever that tone is, and then bring it with an emotion.
I must have been tuned into you today because just before this, I went for a nice long walk on the beach and I was humming for about an hour, moving around, just, getting some sunshine. And I must have been in your energy already for the first half of the day or something because I'm across the world right now. It's my nighttime, it's your morning. But yeah, I was for about an hour straight, maybe even an hour and a half. I was humming through the chakras, Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om, and I was just kind of going wherever I was called and everything. It was just such a nice experience to go through, and I felt so good. But it was also funny because I was just kind of happily going along doing it. People are looking at me, right? Some of them are like, "What's this guy doing?" Some of them are like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," like just giving me smiles and stuff, right? But it was a variety. But I was just like, I'm not minding that, just minding my own business. And
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it changes everything, eh?
Yeah, absolutely it does. And it's a really easy go-to for anyone that doesn't want to, doesn't have the confidence to sound humming. I actually hum a lot on the plane I'm sensitive to sound, and there's the humming of the plane engine, and no one can hear you. You don't have to be humming loud, right? And so this is an amazing tool to change your cell structure. Trillions of cells are being affected. There was a experiment that I did years ago. I was teaching in India, and we did a 7-day chakra workshop, and we got 2 bottles of water from the same spring. We labeled this the bottle of darkness and the bottle of light. And then we passed them around and we said, in any way you want to bring in your light, any way you want to bring in your darkness. And after the 7 days, we invited a blind taste test to happen. So we did this about 5 times in the season, and 100% of everybody that was present could distinctly taste a clear difference between the 2 bottles, which I think is very fascinating because there's nothing to prove. It's already like, there you go, there it is. And some people didn't get it right, but it didn't matter. They were like, wow, this tastes really, really different. And another way of bringing in the power of sound and healing is blessing of the food, because energy is coming out of our hands all the time. And when we open our heart and we give gratitude, that's another way of creating an aspect of healing.
I'd be really curious to hear a little bit more about your actual story, Sequoia. You were talking about being shut down in your voice growing up. What have you overcome in your upbringing, in your adulthood to being so free in your expression and living the life you are right now?
Well, it wasn't a one thing. It was many things that I've experienced. I've done a lot of volunteer work overseas, and I've done a lot of travel overseas. And India is one of those places that I've frequented many times. And there's just a sense of freedom there that anybody can do anything at any time. And it's just India. So that gave me permission. But there's a couple of things um, that just like really shifted me. And one time I was in India and I was going for the like early morning kirtan, and I get there at 5 a.m. and it's filled with like all these people singing. And I get there and I was kind of astonished on how bad it sounded. They were out of tune and they were out of rhythm. And at first I'm like, wow, why did I get up at this time to come here? Like it was like I had judgment and I had criticism. And then I caught myself and I'm like, Sequoia, look at what's happening here. Go beyond the sound and go into the frequency of what's happening here. And it's coherent. Like everybody's praying to God, and that reminded me there's no wrong way to pray to God. And that was kind of like an entry for me to use my voice. It was first with toning, because that was safe. You can't go wrong there. Then it was the kirtan, the the chanting. And again, you can't go wrong there. There's no wrong way to pray to God. So it's a form of yoga. It's a bhakti yoga. It's the devotion. And and I think for me, the more I've used my voice and the more it's transformed emotions and it's given me this sense of freedom and empowerment, the more that I just see like it's all about the voice. Like I make some sounds that I don't know where they come from. And I don't know who's making those sounds. And I'm not going to like say, "Oh yes, I'm channeling this or that." I think when you we become this open vessel, it could be a past life remembrance, it can be another energy, but I see it as like it's either coherent or not coherent. And so I just want to be that coherent channel for love. And that's what I feel. And sometimes my voice doesn't get to where I want it to go, but it's not about me. And so, as a facilitator of sound healing, especially as a group, at the beginning, I was always in my head. And I was self criticizing, self judging. It was really difficult, actually. And I didn't realize the difference between being, I couldn't distinguish the difference between being in my head and being in my heart. And now I'm like, it's all about letting go. I can't even think. If I think, I'm in my head. And so, being that open vessel, we can do that wherever we are through humming, through toning, through sounding. And if I'm feeling grief, okay, what does grief sound like? And allow grief to come out. But going back to your original question, um, having that, being exposed to that was pretty significant for me. And I never thought that I would get into any of this, all of these bowls and gongs. And I never ever, that wasn't my plan. How it came about was I would sleep outside on December 31st. I would like to challenge the elements. So one of those times I was out into the middle of nowhere going across the field, and there was like this makeshift, like kind of like a teepee, but it was someone tried to make a teepee, but it wasn't a real teepee, but there was some shelter all around. And I put my bivy sack and my sleeping bag there, and I had this profound experience, this dream that took me to some monastery. I don't know if it was Tibet or India, but what it was in the dream was surrounded by gongs and bowls and horns, and all it was so loud and it was so profound, and I was in this temple, and then I got shot back in my body, and I went from lying down to being to sitting right up in a in a position, and now it's winter and it's like dead silent, and I'm like, wow, it was profound. And from that experience, I said, okay, what is the takeaway of this message, of this experience? And it said that you need to play sound. And I'm like, okay, great. So that's how I kind of got into it. I never thought I already had a small bowl that I bought in Nepal years ago, but I never really used it or thought much of it. And then my first sound healing course was in New Mexico in, I think, 2000 or something. I don't know. It was a long time ago. And what happened was I've been doing body work for a long time, and so have everybody else in this group. And the teacher, who has already been teaching for 10 years, he said, it feels like we've all met before. We were a very strong group, and there was a fire that took place. And so we were offered to play this shang. Oh, I have the shang over there. Do you want to see the shang?
I'd like to see a shong. I don't know what that is, but
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
So I have a couple of them. So this is a shang,
Hmm.
and then I have many, but this also. And then you hit it and it rings very loud. And I won't hit it because it's too powerful. It's like a bell. But what
Yeah.
happened was, okay, the Mitch Noor was my teacher, and two horses at that workshop, and they had the shangs on display, but we were not allowed to use them. But once this fire came, they said, okay, because we feel so cohesive with this group, do you believe that you can put out this fire with these shangs? So we went around the whole group, and everyone's yes, 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 yes. And then we are hitting we have two shangs, and we're just going and going and going and going, and we had to see the rain. We had to feel the rain. The next day, in front of the paper, it says, freak rainstorm comes out of nowhere and puts out fire. And we were all like, very good job. We did good. And that was really awesome. And so I'm like, okay, I'd like to buy one. And he wouldn't sell me one. And he's like, no, you have to do the workshop. And he told us many stories of how people have harmed someone using them. So I found them in India, and I use them with great reverence, and I don't use them anything for anything other than healing. in the right space and time. But it's these, so this is originally from the Bonpo tradition. Bonpo, the origin of Buddhism. Yeah. And that sect of Buddhism has a lot of instruments. And one other instrument that they use instead of a shell to put in their herbs for cleansing, they use the cranium of somebody, their ancestors. And they also use the femur bone as a whistle, which is really cool. And they have a lot of sound tools like the bell and the dorje and the shang. And going back to like ancient cultures, I feel that the sound was used to cleanse and clear energies.
An amazing story. It's incredible, and it's the second time I've heard a story like that. The first one was my dad, actually,
Hmm.
who is a musician, and he was making a music video in Death Valley, California. I believe it's California. Death Valley, which is like a desert that like never has water there. It's like no rain there at all almost. And the music video is called Let There Be Rain. So they're filming this video and it's all about how like, the fires and this and that, and you need to have rain. It's like, let there be rain. And then so they go for filming this entire day. And then at the end of the day, there's just a downpour of rain in the desert, which was so cool. So those are both fascinating stories and it's
Right.
incredible. And that must be kind of what you mean by intention also, joining the frequency. And there's a lot there too. It's not just the singing bowl itself, it's who's playing it and what is the intention in that energy coming through the singing bowl. It's almost like their voice in a certain way. It's coming from their hand, right?
100%. So I know that there's only one place that I can be so it can be fully effective. I can't think about what I'm going to have for dinner. I have to be like, I'm not even thinking, I'm just playing. And I'm seeing, I'm visualizing. I do a visualization when I'm working with one-on-one with clients of like bringing in healing energy and just seeing it move into the space that's contracted or blocked.
It's interesting hearing you talk about India too. And if I think about you, I know you fairly well at this point. I think about you, I'm thinking you're like a combination of, forgive me if I'm wrong, but Indian wisdom, and there's so much Native American wisdom that you take on as well, and a combination also of sound, frequency, and then ceremony, right? And is that kind of a good like core summary? What do you take from all those different cultures and combine them into the one being that you are?
I have a very devoted life to spirit. And when I'm in North America, it's definitely influenced by the First Nation as that's part of my background. I'm Métis, Cree, Métis, but it didn't grow up that way. And I'm very influenced by the elements. And I think that is the governing web that weaves it all, is like the understanding that the we are the elements. And it's also seen in my background with the Vedic culture or the yogic science that I continue to study, is understanding that we are these elements and we can go deeper into these elements by tuning into them. And part of that is through the devotion of my own sadhana, my own spiritual practice, and my own devotion. And bhakti is part of that. Bhakti is like the devotion to God. And it's not that I am any religion, I am spiritual, but I also believe that we are one. And what I do and say affects all those around me. So I'm always remembering, okay, well, I'm always remembering. I'm trying to always remember what I say, think, and feel is affecting the the world, even though I might be in the middle of nowhere. And understanding that our frequency matters. So I don't watch TV, I don't watch the news because I'm tuning in to gratitude. And that's a great way to clean your slate if there's fear, anxiety, worry. There's a lot going on in the world that doesn't feel good. So the best way for me to navigate it is through gratitude. Now, how that interweaves all of what you just said about me is through devotion and my connection to nature, because that's really what it is about, and prayer and gratitude. We can connect to the earth, the air, the fire, the ether, we can the sky, and when we tune into it, we can communicate to it. It's just like a plant or a tree. But you have to really like let go and not expect them to answer as we are talking, as clearly as we are talking.
Yeah, I know how much you like nature, and I know how much you like a quick pace to your walk too. I think that's why we hung out so much, is you're always like, well, Ao's got a good pace. Why don't I give him a shout and see if he wants to go for a hike? So I'm there for your good pace friend. Um, just kind of a funny placement, but I'll accept it. We had a good time. What other ways, walking in nature, connecting to nature, sound, what else do you do to keep yourself in such a, radiant state, like that you're able to overflow and give so much? Because I do know that you're like that. You have a lot of energy and a lot of energy to give.
I'm aware of all my relations. There's a saying in First Nation traditions is when we do a ceremony, there's a lot of times you'll hear all my relations, which means we are all related. And so therefore, I don't have any enemies, and I will make sure that if I have some argument with somebody or disagreement, that it's never kept in a place of incoherence, like having ill will towards somebody, and cultivating compassion on a daily basis. But I'm still human and I still have lots of work to do because I'm living in the middle of nowhere. It's easier for me. And then I get much more sensitive to go even to a small town, which feels like a big city. But I go to, I have a very simple life. Simplicity is key.
It's amazing how little we really need to be happy. It really
Yeah,
is. And I know you've told me personally, I don't know if you want to share some of the things you've overcome uh, in your own health in your life. Do you want to share some of those stories?
I'm happy to because it's inspiring. Uh, when I was 30 years old, I was hospitalized and given the diagnosis of having Crohn's or colitis. They couldn't tell, but it was the worst case scenario, the worst case photographs that four specialists saw on the gastrointestinal floor. And I had this moment where I'm sitting on the edge of the bed. And, before that, I was like super athletic and I was like vegan, really, really, really hardcore vegan. And I was feeling sorry for myself in this moment. And why is this happening to me? And then it had this like, I had this, I don't know, this voice that came to me that's just like, you can heal this. And I could feel the energy spiraling down in my self pity. So I decided in that moment to go mind over matter and I'm going to heal this. And it was a very significant, like I remember the time of day. Joe Dispenza talks about this when we make that decision to like make a shift. You even remember the time of day. And so then, right after that, whatever happened in the hospital, I had no pain, even though I did. I never took on, I have Crohn's or colitis. I never took on a label. I never believed what the doctors told me because I believe our innate wisdom is more powerful than what the doctors are saying to us. We have the ability to heal anything. And so it got to the point my specialist didn't like working with me because every time he palpated my stomach, it would always be, "Do you have pain?" And I would always say no. Even if I had pain. And then all of a sudden I have this doctor pointing at me saying, "You're a really sick girl. And so when doctors did that, I had this, a really amazing thing happen coming from my third eye, and just like Spider-Man, "No, I'm not." And it's like I blocked their thoughts, their words. "No, I'm not. Your belief, not mine." I would just create this imaginary web, and I'd be like, "Not buying that. Your belief, not mine. No, I'm not." And so I kept doing that. And then what I did do that was really significant for my healing, and I share this with other people, is that I asked at a quiet time. The hospital has a quiet time. I was there for 2 months. And in my quiet time, I asked my higher self, what do I need to do or to shift inside myself to create harmony back in my body? And messages came. And it was the first message was, the love that you want from your boyfriend, you need to give it to yourself. So after 5 years of going out with this guy, I said I had to go. And that wasn't easy for any of us. But it was like, I'm on this journey to heal. So then there was healing that needed to happen with my mom and dad, surprise, surprise, and my brothers and myself. And really, if I can view myself as that old Sequoia and the new Sequoia from before the illness and then after, I'm a very, very different person. And I had to do a lot of healing and a lot of repair with relationships and forgiveness and from to myself and others. And I kept doing that. And it really changed my life. And I healed myself. I don't have Crohn's, I don't have colitis. And my doctor was so impressed. He goes, "I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it." And like my uh, GP, and he was really supportive of me. But the specialists were a little bit questioning me, and and then I had to get something called colonoscopy, very invasive. And I said to him, they didn't like this either because normally you're sedated. And I didn't want to be sedated. I said, "Oh, no, no. I use sound and I use essential oils." And I was very vocal. Normally someone is quiet. So after the fourth or fifth one, they did not like working with me at all. And it's unfortunate because it's really like it's a tool that we have, but I'm not going to compensate my health because of their inconvenience. They're getting paid, and this is my way of expressing and healing. So I know that was a big starting point for me of how I use sound to transform energy. It was like taking the pain that was happening and sounding it out. And then in the duration of time that I was healing myself in the hospital, I started doing a lot of toning and chanting. And that really helped because it changes the nervous system. It changes everything. It changes your brain state. And then I just continued to do that and visualize myself healed and kept asking questions because it's not like heal me and you do nothing. There has to be some work that we do. And I see that we're here to learn and grow in this spiritual experience that we're having living in a human body. And there's always going to be these opportunities. It's not a challenge, it's an opportunity. Two ways of thinking. Things are happening to me, which is kind of a victim consciousness, or things are happening for me, which is more of an expanded spiritual observation of how we can take it as an opportunity to learn and grow.
It's a really fascinating story. I love it. And I think the pieces there that you're speaking about, like not accepting the fact that you were going to get put in the label and accepting that as you, and then also the next part of using the frequency, that practice of your intention and the frequency, getting into that state actually healed whatever was going on. Is that right?
Yes, it was in combination. Everything was in combination. It wasn't like one thing. I had I had quite a few blood transfusions in the hospital, and I would like take the blood and I would bless it and thank that person. I did take the medication that was given to me while I was in the hospital, and I would bless it and I would transmute it. I'm transmuting the energy of this medication. Same thing that with prayer, we can do that with our food. And so once I got out, I started doing things differently. And I slowly weaned myself off of the medication. You couldn't just do it overnight. It was quite a lot. So it was a lot to do with the energetics of how I created this disharmony with the relationships, with myself, with my partner, with my mom, with my dad, with my brothers.
Can you share some sort of realization that you chose to run with and shift that actually changed your health?
Know that I'm creating it by the thoughts that I'm thinking and the feelings that I'm holding and the resentment that I'm holding. So knowing that I'm creating it, wow, I'm holding this and I'm creating this with my thoughts and frequencies that I am omitting from what I'm hanging on to and what I'm judging and what I'm not letting go of. Yeah, towards myself and others. And so from that experience and working with people for so long and doing healing work, I really believe that every illness that we have is stemmed from our emotional body. We're not just this physical body. And in the yogic science, we have 5 different bodies. And this physical one is the most densest one, but it comes like way out here, you know?
And I love what you were saying earlier about, you know, thoughts being frequency too and everything. You know, there's a great saying that I do like to bring up, which is, you know, your words become your actions become your habits become your character. I might have missed one in the middle there, but it's like it all starts here, right? And it becomes, oh, and then your destiny after character. Your character becomes your destiny. You're solidifying that their frequency too, and they're affecting the environment around you. It's a wise teaching.
Hmm. But it is the importance of meditation and mindfulness of like, oh, what did I just say? Like if we're not having a good day, we can easily say something to somebody that wasn't very nice, and the vice versa, right? And so one thing that I try to do now, like if somebody's rude or they say something in a way that I didn't like, I say to myself, I wonder what their story is. I wonder what they're going through today. So to have that compassionate heart and not go into judgment, because we don't know anyone's story. Like we're all just trying to do our best. Being human's not easy.
We got quite a game to play today. We are trying our best. It's great to have a few good friends around that we feel good with and just try to stay strong as much as you can and walk through it, I think, you know.
Yeah, but it's so true. Like there is so much going on the planet right now that all the best medicine that we could give is compassion, and that requires mindfulness.
Ceremony is such a big part of your life too. Is there some favorite forms of ceremony that you incorporate regularly into your life?
There's 3 kinds of ceremonies that I have on a regular basis. One is a Vedic fire ceremony, and it's the use of a copper pyramid with ghee and cow dung and mantras. And you feed the fire with the mantras, and it is very powerful. So, usually, a group of us will get together the new or full moon, and we do this together and we recite the mantra, and it's very, very powerful. So, I do that. I also am a keeper of a pipe. So I do the pipe ceremonies again in the new and full moon, depending. And I also go to a sweat lodge, and I don't lead it, but I there's 2 different lodges that I go to, and I feel it's a great way to cleanse the spirit, and we really need a lot of cleansing. And so I feel that I've always been drawn to the spiritual aspect of life, and to me, it doesn't even matter where I am, but prayer and ceremony are really important. And I got really influenced by living in India and Bali and Thailand for so long that every day can be a ceremony and every day can be an offering. And when we tune into that offering, that ceremony every day, we open up to the law of reciprocity. So, like the trees give us oxygen. And so, what can I give the trees? The mountains give me strength. What can I give the mountains? The earth gives me perseverance and healing. What can I give the earth? And always understanding that we're in a co-relationship. We are in relationship with the nature. And what can I give? So that is it's not just something that I do on new and full moons. It's every day that I make an offering to spirit because it's part of us. And so I feel the more that I do that, the more connected I am to creation. And I don't always live in one spot. And when I uproot from the nature and I go into a city, how do I stay grounded? I go straight to the park and look for the trees and then connect.
I remember when I came back from Costa Rica a few years back, I was there in peace, like real peace for a few years. And I went straight from that and, doing a lot of meditation and ceremony too, in peace there in nature. Went straight from that to Toronto. And I had an actual panic attack on like my second day there because I couldn't find a park that was really giving me what I needed. Because every park that was there was surrounded by sky rises that had about thousands of windows looking right at me, and there was crowds in the park. There was no escape in that city. It was quite a wild experience, but I was having a full-blown panic attack from I guess I lost my ability to withstand that kind of intensity, just from being in peace. So I totally resonate. Finding some reprieve from the city and parks when you have that option, and finding some nature to put your feet in and sit down and take a few breaths and look at the ducks or something. It's you got to find a way if you're in a city, I think. You know.
Yeah, but you can do that even if you see a leaf. One leaf can bring you back to the power of Mother Earth and going into bodies of water. Like you're able to maybe it even is that you have a bath and you put salts in the bath, but it's remembering that we are all connected to the nature and we are nature.
Sequoia, what are you up to right now? I know you're kind of like me, where you are always doing sort of the same kind of stuff, but you're always venturing out too. Your entrepreneur hat. What's around the corner? What are you excited about in your creations right now?
I am excited to upload. I have a course, a sound healing course that I have in that it's already done, and it just needs to be uploaded and then put out there. So that's going to happen in the winter. And my winter will be spent in mainly Thailand. I will visit Nepal for a little bit. And I'm going to study more body work, an advanced therapeutic Thai massage course where we live, eat, and breathe in the same space. And also an advanced Chin Sun course, which means the abdominal massage. So this will be my third course. It's my aim to teach it. We have more neurons in the navel than we do in the brain. So much is held in the gut. And I think it's my journey through my healing holiday in the hospital that I understand how much is really there and how much we hold. So I love doing the abdominal massage that's taught in Thailand. So that's on the upworks for me. And then also I really enjoy doing and continuing to mentor people who are interested in sound healing. So I do sound mentoring, um, where we look at what the person wants to learn, and then I tailor the course for them. I've got so much background in one-on-one sessions, group sessions, couple sessions, and healing sessions that I feel I have a lot to offer somebody. So that is also happening.
I got to experience it firsthand. I was doing photography for your sound healing workshop last summer, which is really fun. So I saw the full 3 days and the crowd just had a good time, got really introduced to everything well, got to play with the different instruments, experience being the recipient and the giver in all these different ways, and had several ceremonies. It was wonderful. So I just want to say that as well. I got to experience it and I love it. How do people check out what you're doing a little deeper if they want to and maybe say hi to you, reach out to you? Is there a good way?
Yeah, thank you. It was nice having you there. Um, yeah, they can reach me at my website, Feeling Soul Good, SOUL. So Feeling Soul Good will get you and to my website, and then from there you can contact me if you have any questions.
Why don't we finish with one last thing? Would you like to say one last message to humanity if this was just broadcast to every being on Earth right now? What last message would you want them to hear?
The message that I would like to share with the world is do what you love and love what you do so you have peace within and without.
Thank you, Sequoia, my friend. I appreciate you so much. It was so lovely to have you in this space and catch up and share everything you're doing. It's wonderful. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you so much.